UB.net presents Poker2Nite. Coming up, we'll examine some of the nosebleed online games happening overseas, including the largest pots in online history. How big a nosebleed? Let's just say, watch this episode with your head cocked backwards. We'll be throwing everything we've got at figuring out the identity of the game's new mystery player, who calls himself S01. I guess Kaiser Sose was already taken. We got charitable and hobnob with the celebs at Annie Duke's latest charity tournament, and we'll be joined in studio by Andy Block, who won that tournament and will show us some poker life skills. Though we're probably just going to end up asking him to teach us how to beat blackjack. And with Thanksgiving right around the corner, we had a chance to talk turkey with pros and celebrities about their favorite Thanksgiving foods. Oh, and guess what? UB.net's Brandon Cantu endured an excruciating tasing, all for charity. Dana Workman takes him down a peg or two with the weekly misdeal on Poker2Nite. Hello and welcome to Poker2Nite. I'm Scott Huff, and alongside me is Joe Sebok. Thanks for being here for our second show. And Joe, I got to say, I am happy that they managed to clean your suit with just a little less starch this week.
I don't know what you're talking about, Huff. I think I'm okay with this week.
I actually asked for a Sebok robot for Hanukkah, and it looks like I got one.
Well, you got one for Thanksgiving, though.
True enough. Coming up tonight, we'll be railside at Annie Duke's recent celebrity charity tournament. We'll talk Thanksgiving with top pros and celebrities, and we'll be joined by special guest Andy Block, the genius mathematician who says he's figured out a way to apply poker skills to life. But first, history was made twice in a week with the two largest pots ever played online, both happening within just a few days of each other, and both involving the same two Scandinavian sickos. Who were the sickos? One of them, the mysterious newcomer S01. He's a Swede who no one really knows anything about, but that hasn't stopped him from taking on some of online's biggest names for some of the biggest stakes. In both record-setting hands, that big name turned out to be Monte Carlo resident Patrick Antonius. These two have been very active online of late, and Saturday night was no exception when they decided to play 3 tables worth of pot limit Omaha at 500 and 1,000 blinds. They had already broken their record of biggest online pot ever set earlier in the week before they broke it again with the following hand. Patrick Antonius started with only 200,000, but managed to build his stack up to 1.26 million versus Isildur's 678,000.
Now, with the blinds at 500 and 1,000, Isildur raised from the button to 3,000. Antonius re-raised 9,000. Isildur pot 27,000. Antonius, of course, another re-raise 81,000.
And finally, we have a call and a flop, 4-5 deuce rainbow. With $162,000 already in the pot, Antonius fires 91,000 more. Isildur raise pot
435,000. Antonius, of course, a re-raise $773,000.
And Isildur calls with his last $162,000. Antonius shows Ace King King 3 with spades and hearts for a flopped straight, while Isildur showed 9-8-7-6 for only a draw to a higher straight.
Isildur would need a 3, 6, 7, or 8 to win the hand, but the river would only pair his nines, doing nothing for him. Antonius' straight holds up, shipping the entire $1.35 million pot straight from Sweden to Monte Carlo.
My hands are shaking just from thinking about being involved in a hand that huge. $1.35 million. Let's start first with the actual play of the hand. You're playing for that much money. How do you get it all in with a draw?
Well, keep in mind, Huff, we're not talking about no limit hold'em, right, which is what everybody's used to at home. We're talking about pot limit Omaha. So there's 4 cards, a million possibilities, and it completely changes the complexion of the hand. And truthfully, when Isildur got his money in, he was only a 45% dog on the flop. So I don't want to necessarily say he played the hand bad just because he lost it, right? That's playing results.
Sure. I mean, there are very few people in the world who play at these stakes, so what do you think motivates these guys? It can't be money anymore. They're trading BMWs or Italian villas in this case on every single hand. What gets them going?
Sickness? Madness? I'm wondering if we're going to fit these guys for straitjackets soon. No, but the truth is, you're right, it is money. You know, so at the end of the day, they feel like they have an edge over whoever they're playing. There's certainly ego, right? It's professional poker, so we already know that. But they really feel like they're going to be the ones to take the money off the table, and that's enough for them.
I think what's on a lot of people's minds now, though, is just who is Isildur, right? This guy rides in. He's kind of the Dark Knight. He takes people down for huge sums at first. So there aren't many people who can play at that amount of money and at that level.
Sure. So
is this a guy who's just on a sick hot streak, or is it possibly a shrewd pro who's managed to keep his identity anonymous for this long?
I think he's a beast. You know, I think this is a kid that we're going to see more and more of as the years go on. He's obviously just coming up, and he already is probably a top 5 pot limit Omaha player in the world. Right? The only problem that he's running into is he's playing maybe 1 and 2 in Phil Ivey and Patrick Antonius. But as the years go on, we're going to see him more and more, and I think he's going to come out into the public. So he's going to be around the game for a long time.
Not good enough. If we're going to be the second or third best poker show on Fox Sports Net, we're going to need to give people answers. And I did a little bit of research and found out that Isildur is actually a character from the Lord of the Rings books. So if we're looking for a geeky virgin that probably doesn't spend a lot of time outdoors, it could literally be anyone that's ever played online poker.
Check.
But one person that we can probably rule out is Annie Duke.
Meh, 90% out.
Well, this past week, Annie Duke, poker player, UB.net pro, and celebrity in her own right, hosted a celebrity poker night at the Commerce Casino to benefit the Decision Education Foundation. And Poker2Nite's Joe Sebok was there on the scene.
The stars were out in Los Angeles for a cause that's near and dear to Annie Duke's heart.
This is for a foundation I'm on the board of. Educational foundation. We develop curricula for kindergarten through 12th graders, and actually parents too, which teaches good critical thinking skills and decision-making skills, and we all know America needs more of that.
She called and said, hey, let's raise some money for a good cause. So great people, higher thinkers, and working with Matt Savage was a no-brainer.
I think that, you know, with poker being so popular, it's a good way to do it. You can't do a golf tournament in the middle of November or December, but you can do a poker tournament year-round.
Sure, poker may be a great platform for raising a bunch of money, but I asked featured speaker Andy Block why in the world anyone should take life advice from professional poker players.
Some poker players obviously don't make the best life decisions, but you know, a lot of it is because they don't apply what they learn at the table to their real life.
Poker creates, I think, this really good feedback loop where, you know, you're constantly making life-like decisions. You're having to make decisions without all the information you'd like to have, and you very often get some pretty good feedback pretty quickly. And certainly if you try and take away the lessons you learn at the poker table, you can apply those to life.
In the end, the easiest lesson to learn was how to have fun for a fantastic cause. So easy, even the celebrities could handle it.
You know, learning how to make good decisions, that's what's going to get you all the way through life. That's one of the things I love about the game poker.
So how much did you donate?
Sort of an inappropriate question, Huff. I donated.
Yeah, it sounds like not enough. Coming up next, that girl right over there, Dana Workman, and the Weekly Miss Deal.
Scott, Joe, you guys want to know what I'm thankful for this year? The fact that I didn't have to get my wardrobe at Men's Warehouse.
The suit was $1,000.
You overpaid.
Glad she's not talking to me.
All right, Dana, thanks for that. Still more to come on Poker2Nite. What do poker players eat on Thanksgiving? What does it look like when Brandon Cantu gets tased? And how is Andy Block going to teach us to make better life decisions with poker? All those questions answered, and Andy Block in studio. Poker2Nite, right after this.